Hey, what is going on, guys? It is Young here, and today I'm back in our Fortnite video, and in today's video I'm going to be giving you guys some tips and tricks when it comes to solos here for season 10. And before we get into the video, I have a V-Buck giveaway. If you guys want a chance to win some free V-Bucks, all you guys have to do is to drop a like on the video. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel and also subscribe to my second channel. The link for that will be in the description or the pinned comment. Turn on my post notifications and as well comment down below your Xbox gamer tag, your PSN gamer tag, or Epic account. And as well, if you guys would like to support me in the item shop, all you guys have to do is go over to the item shop, go down to support a creator, type in my code is Young Humor, and you guys will have me added and supported as a creator. I really do appreciate all you guys who do add me. And alright guys, let's go right to the video. Alright, so in this video I want to be talking over this gameplay and also give you guys some tips and tricks so you guys can win a lot more solo games here in Fortnite. And when I was going for solo wins last night, for the gameplays that you guys see in the background, apparently there was some bug with the mech, so they took it out. And oh my goodness, I absolutely popped off with the mech knight in the game. I was winning game after game. It was super easy. I was destroying every single player I went into. And unfortunately, I think it was only like temporary. I think they had like a bug with the mech or something, but with it out of the game, it felt so much better, and I was absolutely going off every single game that I was in, winning left and right. And honestly, when it comes to solos, I'm a huge fan of playing solos, just for the reason being when you're playing solos, you don't have any teammates, which means you can play whatever playstyle that you want to play. And which is it could also be a good thing, but also can be a bad thing, because when you're playing solos, like I said, you don't have any teammates to rely on. But at the same time, if you want to go push another team, you don't have to worry about having a teammate, especially if you're in squads. You can't really, it's kind of hard to push a team 1v4 or 1v3. Definitely isn't the easiest thing to win, so that's something you definitely have to keep in mind. With solos, you can play exactly how you want to play, so when it comes to improving in Fortnite, I think solos is probably your go-to game mode, because you can really play exactly how you want to play and work on the things that you need to without worrying about dying and choking and losing games for your team. And when it comes to solos, I think the best play style and the best way to play is honestly just to play off the amount of HP that you have. And for the reason being, there's going to be a few reasons why you can easily just play a lot of heals. And if you ever get shot in a gunfight, you can easily box up, get off some heals, and then challenge right back in that fight. But you do also have to keep in mind, since they did nerf turbo building when it comes to the same wall. So if they try to replace your wall with theirs, they can do it pretty much at a 50-50 chance, which is honestly kind of annoying the way it is. Apparently Epic said it was ping related, but to be honest with you guys, it really wasn't, because I played on constantly 0 ping, and I couldn't just snag anybody's wall if I wanted to. So when it comes to wall replacing, the whole ping argument, I really don't think it was anything ping related, because if they took anything off turbo building, of course I was going to have an advantage if they took it off at any slight moment. But if they were sitting there holding turbo build, unless their ping was on like a freaking 200 or something, I couldn't just take their wall right away. But now it's kind of is what it is. It's a 50-50 chance. So if they try to take your wall, you pretty much have to be ready for them to take your wall, because it's a 50-50 chance and they can easily do so. So when you are getting off heals, there's two ways you can do it. I mean, one, you could just sit there, maybe try to get off a few heals, and you can expect them to try to get your wall. And if they do so, you can easily just back up and box in again. Or when you're in your box, you can easily just place a ramp in there, so you have the wall and then you're behind the ramp. So if they try to take your wall, even if they try to go for shots, you're at least going to be behind your ramp before they can try to make a play, which can be a really good way to try to avoid or kind of counter when they take your wall, because they still have to shoot through your ramp no matter what, which is going to buy you a little bit of time to maybe get off that second heal. Or if you just want to make another box, you do have a little bit more time to do so. And the main reason why I play HP and heals when it comes into solos, and that's my main play style, is because when it comes to duos and squads, it gets a little bit more tricky, because there's going to be a lot of gunfights you go into where you may not even have that much HP. Maybe you're only like 50 or 60 HP, but sometimes it would be 100% better to challenge in that gunfight than to try to get off your heals and fight 2 players later. That's not going to be every single fight, but a lot of fights, it comes down to timing when you challenge different players. And a lot of times, you're not going to be able to challenge people exactly when you have max HP. But in your solos, you can do so, because it's going to be a 1v1, unless you have a third party. But if something like that happens, if you just box up the other 2 people that were shooting at you, eventually they're going to start fighting. So you can easily box up without having any problems. But when you're in like a duos or squads, you can have a lot of different players shooting at you from different angles. So sometimes you're not going to be able to have full HP when challenging that fight, which can be a little bit risky because you don't have as much HP, but the alternative is you have to fight multiple people at the exact same time. So when you make someone low, even though you might have low HP as well, it's probably going to be it's going to give you a better chance of winning that whole fight if you challenge that player even though you are on low HP. So when it comes to solos, it can help out a ton because it allows you to get off all your heals if you want to. But in duos or squads sometimes, and a lot of times even for me, I haven't been able to. So when it comes to the gunfights or like mid-fight, a lot of times I'm not going to be able to get off the heals on like solos where I normally would have. So it's just definitely something to keep in mind every single time you go into a fight in solos. You definitely have a lot more time than in duos or squads. So if you want to get off heals, you can easily do so. You just have to keep in mind that they can take your wall pretty much every single time. Because after like 2 or 3 wall replacements, if it's a 50-50 chance, the chances are they're eventually going to take the wall. So you do have a little bit more time to get off your heals, but you definitely have to keep that in mind as well. And also such an important thing in solos is going to be positioning. As you can see, I only had like 30 mats or so, and the guy to my right I made super weak. And in a normal game, if this player wasn't here, I could easily push that player and kill him very easily because I think he only had like 50 HP or so. But I had the guy to my left, so instead of going for the guy on my right, I waited for the guy on the left to make a play on me, and then I went for high ground, got on top of the house, and I finished the player from there. Because say I even was able to kill the player that I'm fighting right now, say even if I was able to finish this player earlier, and as you can see he had a ton more materials, so it probably would have been a dragged out gunfight, and I probably would have ended up losing because this guy would have built like crazy, and then the other guy would have been on top of the house just spraying at the both of us. So a lot of times it can just be more beneficial and allow you to win a lot more gunfights if you just focus solely on positioning. Because if you have a lot of HP and good positioning, you're probably going to win 90% of the gunfights there in solos. And one thing that I was talking about earlier, a perfect example of that is something right here in this next fight. But basically there was a guy behind me, I ended up turning around, I get a couple shots on him, and as I was running up, I think he tagged me for quite a bit of damage. Yeah, he hit me for a lot of damage, but at the same time I was getting third party by another player. So all I did was sit a little bit lower, and when I was sitting lower I got off my heels, and as soon as I did, the other 2 people that were pinching me from different directions, they ended up fighting, and then because they were fighting, it made it super easy for me to go up there and finish them both off. But if it was a game like duos or squads, I would have had every single player pinch me at the exact same time, which would have been so much harder. But in solos, if you ever get shot from multiple directions, you can easily box up, get a few heals off, and then both the players that are one shooting at you, a lot of times they're going to be fighting each other. As soon as I did, one of them got eliminated, or if some of them gets tagged once you get your heals off, you can easily just run up there and then finish off the players because they're both going to be weak, and then you're going to have pretty good HP because you got off your heals instead of being in that gunfight. And that's exactly what I did, and allowed me to win that gunfight pretty easily. Otherwise, if I try to fight both the players at the same time without getting off my heals, or trying to fight them both at the exact same time even after I got my heals off, it would have been a little bit more difficult because I would have to fight both the players at the exact same time. And that's pretty much why it makes it pretty hard to do solo versus like duos, because you have both the players shooting you at the same time. But on solos, you can easily just avoid that by boxing up, getting off some of your heals, and eventually if the 2 other players are close enough, they're going to fight each other, and it's just going to allow you to get a bunch of really easy eliminations, because even if one of them gets a kill like you saw, the other player most likely is going to be weak, and you can easily finish them off without much effort. So here in the next gunfight, even though I took the wall from the player above, one thing you do have to keep in mind is even if you have high ground on another player, especially for Season 10, if the other player has a combat shotgun, they can easily hit you for 60, 70, 80 damage from low ground. So even though you do have high ground, you do have to keep in mind that the combat shotgun does have crazy range and damage on it when it comes to those ranges. So when it comes to high ground, you do have to be very cautious because even like I said, even though the other player does have a disadvantage just from angle wise, it's definitely harder for them to get a shot off, they can still hit you for the same amount of damage very easily with their shotgun. So that's just something you have to keep in mind, that even though you might have a little bit of distance on the player, the other player can easily hit you for 60, 70 damage still with the combat. And even though you do have height, that's why I think positioning is even more important, because you can have high ground, but that doesn't always mean you have the best positioning. And a lot of times I'm able to win off gunfights very easily from low ground just by having the better positioning. And with that being said, that's wrap up for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys liked it, make sure you guys do drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, turn on my post notifications, you guys are notified for every single new video. And alright guys, I'll see you next video.